Hi, and welcome to another episode of Faith Gateway Live. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Lori McClure. I'm so happy that tonight we have our friend and a fellow adoptive mom. Melanie Dale is the author of Women Are Scary. She's with us today. We're so excited. Before we begin, I just want to invite you to join our conversation by commenting below on the live page video, or you can also tweet us. Tweet at Faith Gateway with the hashtag Women Are Scary Book. Also, I want to remind you that our store.faithgateway.com, you can get an extra 25% off for a total of 40% off on Women Are Scary using the code SCARY, just for a limited time only, okay? If you haven't already met Melanie, buckle up because she is a kick. She is wife to Alex and a mom of 3 littles, a son and 2 daughters, Elliot, Evie, who was born in Ethiopia, and Anna, it's Anna for Anastasia, who was born in Latvia. Melanie is a self-declared weirdo, which is a huge relief to all of us. She's passionate about eradicating modern-day slavery and poverty. She's also passionate about orphan care and adoption. She claims to be allergic to the outdoors and sports, especially outdoor sports. Welcome, Melanie. We are so happy to have you join us today.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, tell us a little. I just gave you a little brief intro, but tell us a little bit about yourself. I know that you met your husband in college, and the two of you built your family in an unanticipated way. Will you tell us a little bit about the journey of your family?
Yeah. So I have infertility, and so after like a 5-year battle with that and all the doctors and needles and all the crazy stuff, we were finally able to have a baby, and he just turned 8 this week. So my baby is 8, which is freaking me out, and his name is Elliot. And then God just really shifted our heart to adoption, and so we adopted our youngest from Ethiopia, and her name's Evie, and we'll be celebrating 4 years with her this summer. And then last year, we adopted Anna, and she's from Latvia, and she's 10. So we're all just kind of different continents, out of birth order, just whatever.
I love that. My family is the same way. I've got 2 kids by adoption and 3 by birth. So we're, my ideal idea when I was, building a family was kind of like that Benetton look, like one of every color. I just love that idea. So I think it's wonderful that you've got the kids out of order and from all over the place. It's fantastic.
It's fun. It keeps it interesting around here.
Just a little bit busy. And with a sense of humor, you can tackle all of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so right from the start, I want to thank you for taking on this intense subject. It can be really stressful. The one about mom friendships, especially with such humor, because it can be so hard to build mom friendships. Mm-hmm. I think that men have it easier, and I'm like you in that I always, growing up, wanted to hang out with guys because they were just less drama and less difficult, and the narrative has not changed that much since then. So why do you think that we women, as a team, that we're scary?
Yeah. First of all, my husband credits me for having any friends at all, because otherwise he would just be by himself all the time. So he's actually really thankful for all of the mom dating I do, because that's the only reason he has any friends at all. So I think women are scary because I think we intimidate each other. I know that I can be so intimidated by other women, and especially moms, because I feel like I do not have my stuff together, and I feel like I'm failing, and we struggle with all of our stuff, and then I see other moms like on the internet or at church or anywhere, and they just look like they've got it all together, which freaks me out, and I get all up in my head, and I start to judge myself, and then I start to judge them, and it can just feel really scary. So anyway, that's, yeah, I think I started off just kind of wanting to stay away from them and wanting to stay surfacey, like I couldn't handle it. And a few years ago, I prayed, Lord, help me to love women, and he totally answered it, and I was like, really? And I really do. I've gone from being scared of women and being afraid to get into authentic relationships to just really loving the women in my life and being passionate about that and helping other moms find friends too.
Well, I think social media, as you've brought up, makes it so much harder in that our Instagram lives look amazing. Mm-hmm. And when people, I don't do Pinterest like you because it terrifies me, and I would spend hours and hours and hours trying to be perfect like other people. So I think social media can make it so much harder to be authentic women with broken lives and messy places and, you know, sometimes snot on our clothes from our kids.
Yeah, sometimes. Oh. Yeah. It really can be hard.
When you started building, you know, your first female friendships, did that initially, when God initially gave you that gift of loving women and really wanting to build women friendships, which I can't, you know, I can imagine it's hard, but did that go smoothly for you in the beginning, or did you feel like it was a natural gifting and you've got those things to share with us that are your natural gifts?
I think, you know, one thing I try to do in the book is share all of the crazy things that happen too, the funny stories and the awkwardness, because I mean, the subtitle is The Totally Awkward Adventure of Finding Mom Friends, because if you're like me, I'm really awkward, and I feel like these things do not run smoothly at all. So I think for me, once I became a mom, I found my friends one by one and have just over the years have developed just some really good lifelong friends. But I remember the very first mom friend that I ever had, my mom actually helped me with, because I was new to the area, I had a new baby, and you know that just like first couple months after having a baby, it's like you're leaky and you're lumpy, and I had moved to the South, so I was experiencing like full-on Georgia humidity and heat for the first time ever, and I just felt so disgusting, and I remember seeing this person across the church lobby that my mom was like, oh, that's going to be your new friend. She's the daughter of my friend. You're going to like her. And I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. No. Because she was perfect. She was experimenting with veganism, so she had like 0 body fat, and she was like stunning and tan, and she had a toddler on her hip, and she had another child by your feet, and she was like balanced on these perfect heels, and I was like, I don't have time for that. I cannot do that. But she walked over to me, and I'm going, and struck up a conversation, and she was so genuine, and we got to laughing, and I feel like we really have a lot of the same sense of humor, and she can be totally gross like me, but I think I really fell in love with her when I saw her minivan for the first time, because when she came to pick me up, we were going to do like our first kind of going somewhere together intentional mom date, and I opened up that door to the minivan, and it was like Cheerios fell out, and there were diapers, and it was just like, you know, the way my van looks now, and I went, oh, I can love this person. She's my people.
Oh yeah, soul friends. Like, let me see the inside of your purse, the inside of your diaper bag, you know. If you have any kind of, you know, French fries or sour apples or anything like that in the bottom of there, we're sisters. Love you.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're willing to pick me up in your van knowing what it looks like, then
yeah. That's right. Knowing that there is that sisterhood of the mom car stink. That's really...
You can't get out.
You mentioned that in your book, and I'm like, oh, gosh, I just love Melanie because she understands mom car stink.
So gross. It's like rotten banana. I don't know. It's bad.
Okay. Your book, I want to get into this because it's so fascinating. Your book is broken into different bases, like baseball bases, of mom relationships. Can you explain the bases to us?
Look at this mug. My mom, only a mom would buy this mug for, like, this is me holding my book. This is so meta right now.
I love that you're using it.
What mug should I use for a chat?
That's awesome.
Anyway. The bases. Okay. So, you know the dating bases that we all know from high school. So I was thinking about how I developed my mom relationships. And we have kind of a different version of bases, and all of the friends that I've developed, most of them have kind of gone around these bases. So I wrote a blog post a couple years ago about it, and that's what the book is based on. And so first base is when your kids are in a shared activity. So maybe a ballet class or soccer practice. It's weird because when you're a mom, you find yourself sitting in a room with strangers hours on end sometimes throughout your week. You're constantly taking kids places, and you do this, and they do their thing with their coach or whatever, and then you sit there and you make the awkward eye contact and you don't really know what to say. And so that's first base. Just we're all kind of stuck there. No one has initiated this. This is just like, we're here. What do we do now? And then second base, you're a little bit intentional, and you go, well, I'm gonna see if she wants to like go somewhere, and so you meet on neutral territory. So that would be like a park, or a playland at a restaurant or whatever. But you actually go somewhere and get to know each other a little bit more, and your kids play. Then third base, you're going to get a little more vulnerable. That's when you invite her back to your place, or you go to her place, and so she sees like the dirty laundry, the dirty dishes. Your kids have to share their toys, which that is a whole thing. And I don't know if your kids are like mine, but that brings out a whole nother level of their personality. So like they can pretend that they're okay on neutral territory, but when we bring it back to our house and the toys come out, it's like the gloves come off and it is on. So that's third base, and so you have a whole new level of relating to each other at that point. And then fourth base is amazing. That is the home run, and that is when you love this other mom so much that you ditch the kids and you go out for like a mom's night out or coffee or something. And fourth base is amazing because you have to really like someone to give up that little bit of time we get alone as moms without kids. You better really love her. She better be pretty special to give up that kind of time. So fourth base is a big deal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just to have that little bit of bandwidth that we have just to breathe for a moment. And it's so amazing when you can meet up with another mom. I just love the way you describe the bases, and that's such a great description of fourth base, of meeting with that mom that you just go, okay, this is the treasure. This is the treasure friend. I just love it. So smart. Okay. Let's just say, before I ask another question, you guys remember that you can comment on the below and ask your questions to Melanie. I will ask as many as I can. If you don't feel like registering below, then go ahead and just tweet us to @FaithGateway using the Women Are Scary book hashtag. Be sure to use book at the end. I discovered that. Okay, so Melanie, let's say for new women who are wanting to start out in friendships, what you called mom date virgins. So somebody who has a new baby or maybe a couple of kids in a new town, what would you recommend as a starting point to meet other moms and meet other women? And what's like the best, easiest, softest starting point for mom date virgins?
The thing that I recommend to people is because small talk is weird and it's always hard to know what to say, and so when you don't know what to say something encouraging, because I think as moms we don't get enough of that. I know I can never get enough encouragement because we give and we give and we give, and sometimes we don't ever hear that we're doing a good job. And so when you're in a situation with other moms on that first base, maybe it's in line dropping your kids off at the church nursery, or you're at soccer practice or dance or whatever, just take the opportunity to encourage another mom. Just say something nice about her kid, or say something nice about her. I find that is a good starting place for me. Yeah, so something nice. Be nice.
Just be nice. I love the way that you encourage women to encourage other women, to be empowered by the way that we speak to one another. And, okay, so someone who's really shy, when they're just starting to have that conversation, what ways would you, like what specific things would you recommend that they say to another mom, like let's say in the situation of ballet lessons or piano lessons or something when they're just sitting there? Like how would you start that conversation?
Okay, I have a couple things to say about this. First of all, if you are not shy, if you are an initiator, someone who does that easily, I just want to speak to you first and say, we need you. We really need you. And sometimes as an initiator, you can feel so drained, or you can feel like people don't reciprocate, or you can start to feel like, well, she's not texting me back, or she's not asking me questions. I'm just going to shut up. She obviously isn't interested. And I just want to say, like, thank you for putting yourself out there, and don't stop, because we need you. I think initiators have a superpower that not everybody possesses. So you are really important. Now, and if you see someone who is shy, like, help a sister out, please. So if you are shy or introverted and you struggle with that, but you want to try, I think the things that I've noticed, you know, and it's, I have a whole list in my book, and, you know, it just depends on the situation, but some things that I have observed and that I've tried in situations. I have been in situations where people have shared recipes. Like, they, you know, you bring in a treat for the class, and so then the moms are standing around, and then you kind of go, well, this is what I did, and so that's a way to kind of get things started. Or you make a comment about the other person's child, like, I love how he is doing this in his swimming lessons. Or, you know, once you've been in class for a couple times, be like, he's really getting that. That is awesome. And that usually, when a mom hears something good about their child, that makes her want to be like, oh, let me tell you more about that, and thank you. So that's something. I think also, like, a lot of times just, if you have a group of 3-year-old ballerinas in a class and you've just found a killer sale on 3T panties at Target, like, mention that. We all need to hear that. So, you know, they're just little ways. I think I also, when I'm getting to know moms, just say, like, you know, what are you struggling with right now? How did, you know, how have you, how's your week been? I just think start basic and then just work from there, and I kind of get deeper as I go. Don't go too deep too soon. Don't start with, like, something crazy hard right at the beginning, because no one will want to talk to you. And then also, I will say with that, not everyone's going to like you, and so I'm constantly trying to start little conversations with people, and sometimes people are just not interested in talking. They want to read their book, they want to be on their phone, and that is totally okay, and I do that too. Sometimes we just need some time to ourselves, and that's okay. Don't press it. Not everybody's going to like you or want to talk to you all the time.
Yes, that's a really hard thing to deal with, something where you really reach out to somebody and you think that they might like you and they don't like you back, but it's something that in order to build relationships, like you said over in your book, it's something that we have to get past and be able to go, that's all right, it's okay. So I love that you just mentioned that. I think that's such an important reminder for moms. Okay, Melanie, let me ask.
In my book, I have a chapter called Wield Your Weirdness Like a Boss, and I think just being yourself and putting yourself out there, especially early on, you know, like, don't try to be like everybody else in the room, and so you're going to find people don't like you right away, but you're going to find your people. You're going to find people who are like you, and you're going to find people who like you because you're interesting. So just be yourself. I remember I was with a group of women I didn't know very well, and I can't even remember what I said, but it was some, like, random sci-fi reference because I'm such a geek, and someone looked at me and went, what? You know, what? And I thought, oh gosh, nobody here likes sci-fi. I shouldn't have said that. But then I was like, no, you know what? Yeah, I love it. It's okay. Just be yourself.
Absolutely. I just got to say, I love that you are weird. It just makes me happy because we're all a little bit weird, and it's such a wonderful thing to have that kind of social permission to be able to be weird. So I just want to, you know, unless we're extremely boring, we all have our little things. And so how can you, one of the things that you talked about is wield your weirdness. How can we do that? How can we make our weirdness work in our favor?
I think our kids, they play together. You know, you look at small children playing together, and they're totally themselves. They spin around in a circle. They try to see who's tallest. They do these crazy things together. And not that we have to do that. We don't have to play like children, but I do think that as we get older, we lose our sense of fun and being able to have fun together. And so one thing that I think is so important in these mom dates, as our kids are playing, let's also have fun with each other. And so maybe that's telling a story. Like, tell a story about whether it's something that happened to you on the way to the mom date or a story about your family, but just share a little bit about yourself. You don't have to go super deep. It could be a funny story about a flat tire. It doesn't have to be, you know, about your first marriage. Like, it could be something just really, really little. But I think we lose our ability for storytelling. And then I also think, like, our interest. If you are like a foaming at the mouth sports fanatic who, like, paints her face and, like, goes all out, like, we need to know that about you. That is amazing. That's interesting. Or if you're super into music, or you know every word to every Disney song ever, like, we're going to need to know these things. That's interesting. So sometimes I think when I am getting to know moms, we start with talking about the kids, but then I want to transition to talking about her. I want to know about her, and I want to ask questions about her, and then be a good listener and a good learner of her as well. Just as a woman, not only as a mom, but in all facets of life.
Right. I love that.
I talk with my hands a lot. I just realized this.
I'll talk with mine too, so we'll be okay. All right. I got a question here, and it leads into a part of your book that we'll be talking about, which is, what is your advice for breaking into established women's circles in your church where it seems like everybody's known each other forever?
That is so hard. I actually have a section called Mom Monsters, and the very first monster in my Mom Monsters section is called the Hydra. It's this multi-headed group of moms that already knows everyone. Like, they already know each other, they're already hanging out, and it's so intimidating. And if you like cut one head off, two grow back, it feels like. And so a couple things. I mean, one thing that I do when it's an established group is I try to look for kind of the loners on the edge of the group, because if you start to look, you can notice that maybe some of them are hanging out on the edge or by themselves, and I like to get to know those people, you know, and find a break in that, and then hopefully that person will then introduce you to another person who will introduce you to another person, and work your way in. And I think it's hard, and I think it takes time. I've been the new kid several times in my life, and the new mom several times in my life, and it is hard. And I think just being persistent. And then I also think to the moms who are in a group or at church where they know everyone, just really want to speak to you. Make sure that you're aware of those women who are trying to break in, and make sure that you are a welcoming person who says, come on into our group, come be a part of it, we want you. I remember when my kids were small, we had just brought Evie home from Ethiopia, and I was tired, and I was adjusting to 2 kids and just all the things that came with that, and I went to a brand new church that wasn't my church, and I didn't know anybody, but I really needed a Bible study, and I was completely freaked out, and I remember sitting in that room thinking, I can't do this, and those women won me over. I mean, I went back week after week, and just slowly but surely they asked questions, they listened, they opened up their own lives, and over time I finally felt like one of them, and some of them are still really close friends to this day.
That is the best. Okay, in dealing with, you know, a lot of this is so much like a continuation of high school and college, but hopefully a lot nicer. But speaking of, we had a question here from somebody talking about, I'm sorry, I didn't get, oh, Melissa. I'm sorry, Melissa Nast asked, how do you deal with mean girls as an adult? I've been bullied recently, and it makes me feel lonely and hesitant to make new friends. So can you talk to us about the mom monsters as well, and dealing with mean moms?
Mm-hmm. I've had that happen, and that is awful. I think, first of all, it's okay to take some time to yourself to heal. And I have a couple chapters in the book about healing from like a breakup, or, you know, when things are hard, because sometimes relationships don't work out and it can be really challenging. And so take the time that you need to heal, and I think finding the safe people in your life who are your good friends, who are your good people, and spending time with them in authentic relationships helps me heal from the other people who are maybe more attacking and mean. So when people are attacking me here, I go find my people, and that's why I think my close fourth base mom friends are so important to me, because no matter what's going on with the mean girls, I have them, and they're there for me. So that's really the main way that I deal with that. And then I also think not retaliating, which is so difficult, because you just want to be, well, maybe not everybody, I want to be mean back. I will own that. And so that's hard, and I just try to think, well, what would I want my kids to do in this situation? And so I want them to be kind, and so trying to be kind, but also I think having strong boundaries, because you don't have to just let somebody hurt you over and over again. So I think it's important to have those boundaries, and if someone is bullying you, to just say, you know what, this isn't working out. Like, I don't have to be bullied, and so it's okay for me to leave this relationship, and just being open and honest about that with yourself and with the other person.
Melanie, what do you think is the most common or the most difficult of the mom monsters, of the 6 mom monsters, and how can we avoid being one ourselves? All of us have gone through a situation in which, you know, in somebody's rearview mirror, that's all our blood and guts and entrails behind them, because we've been thrashed in women relationships. So what do you think is the most common, and how can we avoid and be aware of that ourselves?
Okay, so let me go through the 6 mom monsters in my book. So the first one's the Hydra. I told you guys about that, the group of moms all hanging out together. The second is the Sphinx. I call her the Sphinx. She's the aggressive questioning mom. Like, she wants to know everything. You have to like answer all of her questions, or you feel like she's going to eat you. And you know, with these mom monsters, I feel like there's a little monster in all of us. And so if there was a monster in me, it's definitely her. Like the Sphinx is, I am that person who's constantly like, tell me more about this and this and this and this, and you're like, please just leave me alone. So the Sphinx, the Barnacle, she is the one who like attaches herself to you, and like very like single white female, just like wants to be all in your life and like hang out, and she doesn't want you to have any other friends. She wants to imitate everything you're doing, and it can get kind of creepy. The Selfie, she's the one who is like the one-upper. She makes statements like, oh, you think that's bad? You should hear what happened to me. Or, oh, you made that? Well, you should see what I did. And then the Pintessa is similar to the Selfie. She's like the crafty one-upper, so like Pinterest, you know. So she's like in it to win it at the preschool thing, you know, like I bring juice boxes and throw them on the table and run, but she's like got the whole spread. And if you're crafty, that is awesome. The Pintessa is like the combative crafter. She's the one who's like, I'm going to take you all down with my ability. And then the last one is the Besserwisser, and she's the know-it-all, the one who's like Googled it, she's lived it, she's going to advise you, and she's going to help you out and tell you everything you need to know about whatever your issue is. And you're like, I was just telling you about how I make coffee. I don't need to know all of that information. So so in the book I have fun with it, but I mean, honestly, we have all encountered these, or we've been them, and I think it can be challenging. I've already told you about the Hydra. I think for the Sphinx with the aggressive questioning mom, I usually try to just use a little humor to kind of diffuse the situation, because that can kind of get like, and so I just try to say something really weird and off-putting and funny and ha ha ha, and then change the subject really fast. With the Barnacle, I think that she's someone you really need to have some really important boundaries with. If she's trying to get you to not hang out with your other friends because she wants you all to herself, just you need a boundary there and say, no, I'm going to hang out with my friends, like, but you can join us if you want to hang out with all of us, but I'm not going to leave them to come with you all the time. Let's see, the Selfie, the one who one-ups you, and the Pintessa, I'm like, you win, whatever. I don't need that kind of competition in my life. Like, I do think as women sometimes we struggle with competition, and so I just really am like, just whatever. I'm not trying to win here. Like, you win, yay you. And with the know-it-all, I can be her too. You know, like I think we all like with Google and everything, we want to just like tell everyone how to parent and what to do and all of that. I think one thing with that, one way to not be scary is that we need to start listening better to each other. Like in the book, I talk about the "wow, that's so awesome" approach, because I think when you hear another mom and her parenting choices that she's making for her very unique children, you can start to feel like, I don't do that, and she's judging me because I don't do it the same way. And you know, I think society wants to like put us in little categories of the choices we make as moms. And so I think with "wow, that's so awesome," it's not that we have to agree with everything someone says, but that we can just be like, wow, that's so awesome. Like, tell me more about that thing that you're doing with your kids, and I want to hear more. And it's really just about listening and learning and being excited and encouraging of someone else rather than a commentary on your own choices as a mom.
I love that, because it totally diffuses the intensity and the competitive thing that might be going on there. I love that. That is awesome. Okay, I want to ask you another question, which is from I just lost it a second. Alicia Butler. What is a good, we want to go to the sweet spot here. What is a good fourth base mom date?
Ooh. Oh, that's so fun. Okay, I have a bunch in my book. A couple that I love. Again, total nerd, okay? But like my favorite is I have a friend who likes the same movies as I do, which means like sci-fi, fantasy, superhero. And so once in a while, we have a night of the week of a theater that does like a big discount night, you know, and so once in a while we'll get our husbands to watch the kids, and we will go and do like a double header with free refill on the popcorn, and we will just go to town and watch 2 movies in a row, and we'll like talk during the previews and then silent through the movie and then talk in between and then go to the other movie, and that is so fun. And then when one of us can't get the childcare to work out, we've gone to each other's houses too. So like if you can't, you know, get the childcare thing to work out, then just like take turns going to each other's houses for like a movie night. We've had a Doctor Who festival together, like let's just watch all of our favorites in one night, and so I love doing that. And then I also love the breakfast date. The breakfast date is awesome because usually it's not really cutting into your time, and so if you have older kids or if you have a husband that can kind of watch the kids, or if you want to wait till they get off to school, whatever works for your schedule, but then like go and meet for like a huge gallon of coffee and just hang out for a little bit before your day even gets started. You can go to the breakfast date in your jammies. Do not brush your teeth. Like keep it very like simple. Yeah, those are a couple of my favorites. Today, I will tell you today, one of my 4th basers and I, we just drove to Atlanta to go to Trader Joe's. We love Trader Joe's, and it's kind of far away for us, and so we just run errands together sometimes. I dropped my daughter off at preschool, and we just hit it and drove up there and went grocery shopping together. Like that's how cool we are, grocery shopping.
I love it. I love it. For moms who have kind of a traditional working schedule, I was thinking also something like having an early morning walk, maybe really early in the morning, or going to, say, like Saturday morning farmers market together, just gathering up all the kids and go get some, you know, organic apples or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I like meeting after church too, because you're already dressed and ready to go, and so you even take the kids, you know, and just all go to a restaurant and let the kids like go nuts in the back of the restaurant while you catch up.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to switch gears. I'm going to ask a question from Angie. Being in the military, oftentimes women don't want to invest the time to get to know each other because they know that you'll be moving soon. And if you do meet a great friend, often that relationship has less than a year or 2 to build. What are some recommendations for long-distance relationships?
Wow, yeah. One of my 4th basers is a military wife, and she actually wrote a blurb for me in the book because she understands that better than anybody. And she talks about how some of her closest relationships have been on base through the military, and how when she had small children, she knew that anytime she needed someone, everybody would show up when her husband was deployed. So, but it can be challenging. You're right. I totally derailed with mommy brain. What was the question?
Long distance relationships.
Right on.
I'm with you. I got it.
Like what? So one thing, my best friend moved away a few years ago, and it was really hard, and we really kept our relationship going through texting, because especially when you've got kids and jobs and you're busy, you don't always have a lot of time to, you know, we would start with trying to schedule an hour-long conversation, and then that just slowly started to fall apart. So we kept our relationship alive basically through text, just throughout the day, a few times a week, just texting funny things, or oh, this made me think of you, and that got us through to when we would finally get a phone call to catch up, or when we would actually get a visit in. And obviously that's not going to be with everyone, but if you find that friend that you think this could be a lifelong friend, like I don't want to lose her, then it's worth it. And I love texting. Texting is not what you want to base a relationship on. You don't want to only text, but I like texting because I think as busy moms, we do have time to just send a quick text. I'm thinking about you, or like I'll send a text that's like a prayer, like, hey, this popped in my mind, I want to just pray for you via text, like before I leave the house in the morning. So yeah.
And that can be such an awesome blessing when you've got 4 kids in the car and it's total madness, and you're taking them to school and you get a Bible verse from a friend with 3 hearts on it. I mean, that's so incredibly encouraging.
Yeah.
That's a great way to keep relationships, keep the fire in relationships.
I've recently discovered emojis, and I am like out of control with the emojis. It's
oh my gosh!
Really bad. I have got to lock it down over here. They're so fun.
You're behind, girl. Seriously, they're so much fun.
Oh, I don't know technology at all. That is the blogger. Yeah, I don't know.
My daughter and I will have an entire conversation just with emoji. It's so much fun. Seriously.
I feel like they need a barfing alien.
You know what? They do. They need a barfer one for sure.
Yeah. Constantly, I'm like, where is my barfing, whatever, alien would be called, barfing alien. Emoji people, do you hear that? Barfing alien.
That's right. We also use the poop one a lot.
A lot.
Just for, it's important for conversations to use poop every now and then.
The poop with the little puff of air.
That's right. I love it. It's important to build relationships this way. Okay, I absolutely hate that this conversation has flown by so fast. But before, do you have a second so we can talk just one more question? I want to ask you for just a short sneak peek, if you will give us, at your, wait for it, new book that you're writing. Can you tell us a little bit? I know, anxiety.
It's due, like in a few weeks.
Woo!
Too soon. Yeah, okay, I'm super excited about it. But like, I wish I just wrote about puppies or something easy, like, why do I pick these hard things? So this one was about women relationships, and then toward the end, when I get into the breakups and healing from breakups and going through something difficult and really all of that, the second book, I want to explore these hard things that we go through. So I don't know what the title will end up being, but right now the working title is It's Not Fair, Learning to Love the Life You Didn't Choose. Because I think so many of us have these unexpected things that happen to us, like a death of a dream, whether it's a death of a relationship or a dream job or a child or a family member, a friend. We have these horrible things that happen, and so for me, infertility just wrecked me for a long time, and it was a really hard journey, and several other things as well. And so I want to open up some of my stuff, and then I'm collecting stories like I did for Women Are Scary from other people who have gone through totally different things, and I really want to just be like a companion to you as you're going through something hard. And so it's not a book that's going to have easy answers or like give you the like spiritual band-aid that makes it all better. But it's really just a book that I hope when you're going through something hard that you can take this with you and just feel like you have a friend, like a companion on the journey. So that, but also funny. So it's like a funny book about suffering. Yeah, totally. So yeah, I think I'm excited about it. It'll be good.
I'm excited about it. It sounds completely fantastic, and we can hardly wait to get it on shelves. But I want to remind you guys, if you haven't already gotten your Women Are Scary book, which I didn't even flash mine, and I need to. Mine is gotten kind of wrecked because I've scribbled all over it, and I love it. It's completely fantastic. If you guys go to store.faithgateway.com right now, you can get an extra 25% off for a total of 40% off the Women Are Scary book using the code SCARY. It's just for a limited time, so grab your copy. Grab a copy for some friends. This would be a great book to go through with a couple of girlfriends to talk through the difficulties of mom relationships and ways that we can be aware of how we are in relationships and ways that we can branch out and build new relationships. Melanie, I am so excited to actually meet you, and thank you so much for having this time with us. We just loved it. Thank you.
So fun. This was awesome.
Your book is fantastic, and you are a scream, and we just enjoyed you so much.
Thanks. Thanks for having me. This was really great, guys.
All right.